I understand it, right? If you're looking for any kind of consistency this year, as much as you can grasp, at least in this region, right? KCP have been that team. They're #1 seed for a region. They've won monthly finals multiple times. But Elevate are in a little bit of a must-win kind of situation. I mean, like you said, they've got the postseason, right? But we knew coming into this month that every single top-tier team was going to be extra motivated. They want to go straight to the World Finals. They don't want any doubt, any question marks at that LCQ. They don't want to deal with the other 15 teams that are really darn good at the game, too. They just want a straight shot. So we'll see how they compete against the current #1 seed. They're going to ban Barry. They're going to ban the Buster, which makes a lot of sense. Jesse, an interesting one, though.
Yeah, okay. We'll talk about that a little bit more in just a moment. But Jesse, obviously very good for taking control of that center part of the map. And the Elevate don't want to deal with spawners, but they have allowed Nita to get through. With a 52% win rate, she's very, very solid on this map in general and is picked in, you know, 1 in every 3 games, so relatively frequently. Surge, again, makes another appearance, and we've seen, again, those invulnerability frames be very important against those slow fire rate brawlers with very telegraphed attacks. Also, Surge is just one of the most powerful brawlers in the game once he gets rolling. And the Larry and Laurie, we've seen at times to be a bit exploitable, so Frank gets picked into the Surge. Definitely expect Luffy to try and harass second best, whoever is piloting that Frank, and using that super to avoid those big hits.
I think having Nita and Frank on the same side, too, that does remove one counter from the equation for Frank. But I still really like Larry and Laurie and Surge's odds. I'm curious what they pair this with. It's actually going to be the max. I think we've seen, you know, Kit with him. In the past, we've seen Byron go with the Frank. The heals are nice. A speedy Frank, that's menacing.
Oh, God. I mean, yeah, normally the counterplay to Frank is just to outrange him, play from outside of the range of his super and his normal attacks. But when he gets sped up, that is much less of an option. It is much harder to avoid him in general. So, again, Surge will have the mechanism with which to avoid it. Zeus won't have the option to gadget when Frank comes calling, because more likely Laurie is going to be ahead of Larry trying to harass the Frank down or someone similar. So that's a bit scary. And, of course, RBM says, I can't believe you guys have both great tanks. I need to play a tank. That's what I do. It's basically my DNA at this point. He's gone for the El Primo.
I mean, I'm about it. I think the El Primo definitely more geared towards that Frank pick in particular. They've got 3 members of their roster right now, Larry and Laurie. Again, throwers in general, not going to do well when Frank's on top of them, right? But he has a really strong distance. He has an extra spawner. If you're going to bring a thrower into a tank fight, this might be the best thrower you have available. Surge doesn't need any introduction. That guy's going to do great into the tanks. We've seen him across the board in things like the Brawl Ball League and Brawl Ball in general. He's been around. I'm digging what both these guys are doing right now.
All right, second best getting pressure down, already firing off those Protestos. Luffy not opting into the lane matchup against Frank, or at least not getting it. And RBM just hammered second best. Again, you won't find a better tank player than this guy. And Elevate come out of the gates looking very good with an early goal.
And Luffy gets the instant power up there too, so things going very well so far for Elevate. They got the early goal. The map hasn't been torn to shreds yet, so RBM's just going to be able to dash down the side. Second best, missing the shot. RBM juggling this very well, now diving in right at Pain. It's going to be a 2v2 situation. Juan Carlos calling in the reinforcements. Bruce the Bear going to force them away for now, and now KCP can at least hold on to the ball.
So Luffy giving a respectful distance here to Juan Carlos. Pain now pops that super. Second best coming in awful fast here, and again, tough to block that shot. Second best, though, doesn't connect. It's just saved by Zeus. Now RBM has a moment to send it up the side lane, but Pain will be pressuring. Build another super, this time with hypercharge upside. Now Juan Carlos can get a very big bear, and Bruce has landed. Zeus stunned up instantly there, and second best can slot this one in, no problem.
I mean, it looked like things were bleak for Pioneers, and then 3 purple buttons got clicked, and it was a complete turnaround. Here they go again. The speed going down, the hypercharge inbound. RBM still has the ball.
Oh my goodness!
Running down the sideline. Thankfully, he's blocked up by that wall. No more.
My God!
Supers for it, grabs that ball and dumps it in the net.
Oh man, the guy's in a 1 versus 2, but he knows he can break open that barrier in front of the goal with a super. And he throws it in there. Obviously, the super has a knockback element there of El Primo, so it gives him the room to pick up the ball and take a quick shot. Where he's getting a tank masterclass from both these teams. You love to see it. We've seen all day, like quite a lot of those mid-range brawlers, your Ambers of the world, your Gales. Now, these 2 teams just want to play tanks and they want to get aggressive.
I love the aggression too. Luffy with a perfect dive. Second best with a timely clobbering though. And now Pain with an opportunity. Oh no, he clipped that wall. Didn't get the super shot off in time either. That cost him an entire goal.
Nice. suplex there. Second best, nothing he can do. RBM also dodging one of those Frank hits with a super of his own. Payne under a bit of pressure here, but happy just to stave the ball off. And with Bruce being spawned up, that does mean that Zeus needs to give a bit of ground. There's not much Larry and Laurie can do when their bear starts to run him down. Again, map's going to get broken up with that second best super. Payne sends it into the corner though, and it's going to be a trade of tanks. RPM for second best. Juan Carlos scoops it up, and Payne shoots it in. Nice shots of Luffy to clean him up and get him out the way.
We knew when we saw these drafts, especially in the hands of both these teams, it was not going to be a passive kind of set here. Everybody just going crazy on offense. RBM once again sprinting down the sideline. A big hypercharge. Payne popping one of his own and now rushing down his 14,000 health points of fury. Second best dribbling and just walks that one in. Pioneers tie things up.
Again, you can't argue with the power of Frank on this kind of map. The fact that there are no indestructible boxes that stand in front of either team's goal means that that is always going to be a viable strategy. That's why RBM picked up the El Primo as well. Both of those brawlers have good wall break and the ability to do some tricky stuff, to pull some combos, to find these goals out of nowhere. Pioneers, though, looks like they've gotten a bit of a feel for the tempo of this match, Kenny.
And they're doing it all from the floor. I respect it. They know the essentials. They've got the mechanics. And of course, they've got the second best Protesto pin. Luffy backed away immediately. And again, just utilizing the amount of health points they have on their side to walk forward. I don't think second best is going to stay alive here. He's going to kick this ball over to Payne. Now Luffy tries to intercept. Does so successfully.
What a steal.
Now he's got a breakaway down the left-hand in. Going all the way. Waiting for a reason.
No way!
None available. Perfectly timed by Luffy. What a counterplay.
That is absolutely dirty. In a 1 versus 2, Luffy just runs the ball the length of the field, and the respawn's just not quick enough. Nice job by RBM, another super to avoid the stun from second best, but the El Primo eventually gets dragged down, and with that barrier open, Juan Carlos can just waltz this one in.
I think maybe even trying to bait a super or anything there, but Larry Laurie just stayed put. I think a good call. And now a reset in the mid. Goals have been quick here. We're only a minute in, and both of these sides have already put numbers up. RBM hovering over that super. Purple buttons clicked everywhere, but it's Payne rushing down this left-hand in. Luffy guarding the ball, but it's 3 strong members of KCP standing tall. It's the bodyguard blocking things here, but a super shot available, and second best puts it in the back of the net. Pioneers with a big win there.
But all your usual suspects will be here. Obviously, Eve has been pretty highly prioritized. Meg as well. Her range really suits this middle part of the map here. So we've seen Melody banned away. She often is one of the most banned on this map. We'll note that Angelo is open, but has been less of a popular option lately.
Yeah, it was one of the most banned in qualifiers, so it wouldn't surprise me kind of either way. But to your point, hasn't been nearly as popular a brawler. Obviously got a set of balance changes, and I think it's definitely brought him down. I'm glad it has. The guy was just unbelievably strong. Now he's a little bit more manageable to deal with. But nonetheless, I just think as a brawler build, right? He's a fast sharpshooter with a get-out-of-jail-free card and a gadget. His super is still great. I totally get why teams pick him. This is just more of an area control. You really got to hit your shots kind of brawler, not necessarily the Crows with the hypercharge, the Colettes with the hypercharge that are looking to just rain down damage on a heist safe.
Yeah, just a lot of utility as well, because he can move across those bodies of water, and his super is just the right size to cover up that choke. However, another berry pick comes in. Second best goes for it. A thrower that really kind of has it all. The ability to heal teammates inside those fields, and also the area of effect dropped by, Berry's shots sticks around for a heck of a long time. A great zoner, and also has a powerful super and also gadget for spacing, or if you get dove on. Colt here, we've seen it before. Silver Bullet opens up the map and takes down some of those destroyable objects to create a clear line towards the enemy safe. And Sam comes in again. Wouldn't be an Elevate game without a tank.
There's no region quite like NA. I mean, we've just seen so many teams pick brawlers that they are known for, and that can work. I get it. I think the Sam pick probably going to be a way to address the Meg, in particular to steamroll over Barry, possibly. Barry, a strong brawler, can heal himself, all that jazz. But if this brawler is played well, I see on paper where it's coming from. But on the other end, met with a maker, it's going to be the big man, Frank. I mean, Frank on Heistuber, what are we doing out here? This is incredible.
I mean, it is kind of wild, but you have a double tank, quote-unquote, setup for Pioneers with a healer. That is what Berry can really offer Pain and Juan Carlos here. This is a very durable composition that is hard to break through. Fortunately for Elevate, they have really high damage in Colt and Angelo. Angelo, though, a little bit better at picking off those lower health brawlers. His rate of fire tends to be quite slow if he's trying to get those full-powered shots off. Sam, though, an absolute wild card here. Obviously deadly up close, and especially if you're chaining those gauntlet hits, he is a force to be reckoned with. Already second best, blown to smithereens, and that's the frank difference, baby.
Pain not even able to survive that either. It's just a massacre here as Luffy's able to...
What is going on?
He's just putting up so many shots, already down 19%. What a play there and a start from Elevate.
Here comes Pain, though. Again, second best can stand on those healing fields quite comfortably, and Pain is starting to chain together these supers. Nice stun there on Luffy, and now eyes turn towards the safer Pioneers. Pain dives in once more. Second best just chilling, healing up. Pain somehow staying alive. Uses the gadget there for an extra 1,000 HP, and now it's down to 50. Hypercharged super there from second best by the looks of things. Reached out, and that is a massive dive from Elevate. 86% and counting damage on the safe, and it's still ticking down because of that berry damage.
We all know Anglo's not going to do enough there either. They need this Luffy hypercharge, and they need a lot of them right now. It's just a fearsome KCP combo right now as Juan Carlos looks to get this final flank, and Elevate will have to concede this game. Started off very poorly for KCP, but that combination really shined through as that game continued.
That's just not even fair. It doesn't even feel fair, right? And you can see how Berry is able to chain those supers together, because there is really at some point no choice for Elevate but to step inside those ice creams on the ground, take damage, and allow Berry to charge that up. He's doing so much healing as well with two tanks in play that super is basically always going to be there. Second best here is going to be able to zone everyone away from this. RBM, credit to him, takes the challenge and is able to at least trade with the help of the Angelo. Zeus has to pop that super pronto.
And this is nice to see them out of mech form too. Angelo can deal with Meg much more when you're not in the mech, but instantly Juan Carlos hits enough shots there to get back into it. Now 5,000 HP hurtling its way there. Does get a connection onto Luffy. Juan Carlos focusing on Zeus, moving his attention over to this heist safe, getting plenty of damage in there, and they're already down 29%.
Playing a bit of an awkward spot here, going to be jumped on by these tanks, but hell, a lot of damage there from that Berry super. Enough to at least bring the Sam down. This is going to hold Elevate at bay for the time being. Zeus there able to get that hypercharge off, which means that field moves with the Angelo. Pretty scary prospect here. He's forced to gadget away from that damage of Juan Carlos, who eventually is brought down. Hypercharge super there from Luffy. Threw that on the safe, but still, it's been barely scratched.
It's going to take everything Elevate have in the tank here. They have to hit all their shots to perfection here. Second best going down, and they're just trying to get through all of the amount of health points and healing on the other end. And finally, they just see the other side.
Nice.
They really haven't been here yet.
Juan Carlos can't get back in the mech, is taken down by Luffy at range. Star power up here for the Colt, and he lets that super go, and now Elevate have themselves a lead. It's been a bit awkward for KCP to move through this choke because of that Angelo and Colt combo. So much damage is being done in this game, so a lot of these hypercharges are being cycled.
Give an inch, and KCP are going to take a mile. They have to apply the pressure. They have to hold on to this positioning on the red roster side. Juan Carlos just trying to stay in the path of this heist safe, not allow Angelo to get too many hits, but Luffy is just shredding through anything standing in his way. RBM on the left hand and dancing around flank, and he finally gets a hammer down, and KCP just can't break away yet. Only 30 to go.
This is unbelievable Colt play right now. It's so high damage such that Luffy is cutting through the healing that Berry provides. Both Juan Carlos, second best, and himself. RBM here, forced to chill, eats a super swing from Juan Carlos and is very, very low. Eventually he succumbs, but Pioneers are very far behind now, and there needs to be one last push to try and secure this round, but Juan Carlos is taking more damage than he can get healed up by that Berry. And second best just ceased to exist. He just vaporized. This will be an Elevate round to even things up on Heist.
And they're going to have to do it all over again. Obviously, game number one got out of hand from them, but they really got their feet up from under them in that game number two. It's a big deal to hold positioning the entire game. That's a tall order, but we saw what happened when the entire roster of KCP let loose, right? It was a Frank, a Meg, and some heals to preserve their life even longer. It was too much for that composition to handle. They have to hold on to this mid for an entire another game if they want a chance at taking this set.
Again, heavy damage through mid. Already a super build up for Luffy, and he puts it to good use. Blows second best to smithereens. Juan Carlos here, hoping to passively regenerate some of this health as Pain was reloading. Tough for Meg to find a foothold here. Yes, the model of the Brawler is big, but it's only about 8k HP, which doesn't hold up for long under this level of scrutiny. RBM, good work to dodge the super swing, but Juan Carlos has already built yet another one. It's going to be Colt and Angelo, though, with a great defensive effort for Elevate.
KCP occupying the middle of the map right now as RBM looks to take a right-hand turn. Second best going to be on that lane. Pops a gadget, pulls RBM in, and makes it difficult for him to grab a super. Thankfully, he juggles it just right and actually ends up grabbing this kill alongside his teammates.
So good.
Away for Elevate as Luffy has a hypercharge ready to go.
Second best can body block some of that damage coming in, but still, a mark has been made by Elevate on this Pioneer's safe. Again, Juan Carlos probably just going to get demected here. Oh, I love the gadget use there by RBM. He sucks both tanks in and forces him to be subject to the damage from Zeus and Luffy. And here they come. The Angelo and the Colt knocking on the door. Pioneers safe down to 56. KCP are struggling to stay on an even footing.
Just a meat shield running at them. Frank just trying to do his best here. Will survive due to the help of his allies and the extra heals. A nice jump away from Zeus, though. A great mechanism to kind of get out of harm's way. And just continued firepower from both ends. It's still Elevate holding on to this, though.
All right, Zeus now might be under some pressure. Has to gadget jump away. And Juan Carlos can't quite catch the Angelo. Will then pop the super, get nice and topped up. Second best is not going to get out of middle line. There is no way. The healing from the berry, pretty crucial. Payne gave his life up here to keep the Frank standing, and second best was able to regenerate inside that ice cream. But what about the safe pressure, you ask? Great question. RBM again gives a sucker punch to second best and punishes the Frank once more.
Payne gonna have to wait on his teammates here. Without a super, he's not gonna be able to advance very quickly, and Luffy lets another magazine let loose onto that Heist safe.
They're going for it.
Just diving in. This is gonna be a close call. They're gonna have to rely on RBM to get some serious work in here as Juan Carlos, second best, putting in work of their own.
It's not enough.
Juggling here. It's gonna come down to the final moments. Close call, but 16%. The difference here. Impressive set comeback and nicely played by the red roster. I'm curious to see what surprises we find here on Shooting Star as well. Angelo, once again, going to be very popular on this map for the ban stage. Mandy, somebody that I feel like has grown in play rate and is even a top 3 ban at this point because of the slight change she got in the balances. I really like where Mandy is at in the game. You can't work her on every single map, but this is certainly one of them where I think she excels.
Absolutely. Shooting Star. Coming up next, of course, it's time for a bit more bounty. Angelo this time banned away by Elevate. They said, okay, well, yeah, first pick. We don't want to leave this to chance. Same to be said for Pioneers. They get rid of Berry, and so once more, Meg makes her appearance. 64% win rate on this map. One of the most ubiquitous brawlers, just in general, but definitely on Shooting Star.
I respect it. Again, it needs no introduction as one of the better brawlers in the game right now after that rework. I think she is strong, not as long range as she used to be, but if you get close to her, it's going to be more and more lethal. I love the spot that RT's in general for the KO and bounty meta that we've got going right now, though. It's a very versatile brawler. You can drop the static. You can kind of get from one end of the map to the other, depending on how you place that. And also, you got the sharpshooter and follow-up shot with that gadget. I think RT is just a jack of all trades when it comes to this game mode, and pairing that with a brawler that has a high ceiling, that if you're hitting those shots, if you're cycling those supers, you're a problem from literally any corner of the entire map.
Yeah, Mandy obviously really commonly picked or banned in most cases here. I like the Carl. Obviously, we've seen it basically give you automatic access to that blue star, which is very, very important. It's going to put Elevate on an aggressive footing immediately. They won't be able to play safe and defensive. And that's where someone like RT with like decent range can expose himself to trouble, especially when it comes to poke damage and getting it picked off. Pioneers, though, might need to find like a longer range option here, because that is what Elevate are working with. And if they are starting with the blue star, they do need something to set them up defensively. So they go for Byron. That does give them that poke potential, but also the sustain that an aggressive brawler like Carl and Meg are probably going to be looking for.
This really interesting combo here. I think Byron's in a great spot in the general game. I think one of the best support brawlers you can get. I mean, if you're adding a Byron or a Max to your team, you're probably setting yourself up pretty well. These pro players really know how to cater these support brawlers into powering up teammates. It's very important. We already know that Meg is a threatening brawler. We know that Carl can dive in for a blue star, for a kill, can tailspin in and out. And now if you're feeding him some heals, it gives him a little extra benefit here too. So I expect Pioneers to fully take advantage of this.
So again, while they might start with the blue star, they still want to be pretty proactive here and don't want to give up too much of the map to these longer range sharpshooters and expose themselves to just getting poked down over longer periods of time. So I'm curious to see how they walk that particular tightrope. is now the Pearl comes in, of course, like a really durable option that can punish this dive, right? Like, you don't want to be trying to run in and tailspin on a Pearl. That's definitely going to be an issue for second best. And generally, of course, with full heat, the damage output is quite good. But we've seen teams struggle to get value out of that Pearl pick for sure.
It's popped up a good here in NA.
No way.
Oh, what a start. That's the gadget combination I was talking about. He's got the long range. He times that just right. He knows second best is going to die for this, and he's already ready to rumble. What a start here from Elevate.
Okay, well now Pioneers, I mean, they're in an offensive gearing because they have to be now. Behind by that start. Pain here, trying to pressure down a little bit. Second best goes deep and ends up giving his life up here. I think the plan has gone horribly wrong for Pioneers now. And yeah, the super came down from Pain, but Luffy's able to shrug it off for the most part. And Juan Carlos almost gives up his stars trying to pressure the Pearl position.
Elevate clearly expected Carl, as they should have, and they take full advantage of it. Normally what would be a blue star advantage automatically for Pioneers, it's now going towards Elevate, and they've got 3 stars alongside it. They're sitting comfortably right now. They're not being pressed too hard, but the good news for them is, too, Zeus is the man with all the stars right now. He can back into this left corner, this right corner, pop his super, and make things even more difficult for the other end. This is going to be a tough one for Pioneers to navigate.
Yeah, there's so much on Elevate's comp that basically shuts down that all-in that Pioneers eventually want to go for with the Carl. Very, very difficult to win this. And then losing Pain just to poke. I mean, this round is basically over. I don't see how Pioneers come back at all. They're just throwing good money after bad here.
Yeah, and I mean, second best even just spraying and pinning away, which I guess isn't abnormal, right? But he's just sitting in a corner more than anything. 30 seconds on the clock, 7 stars down. Numerically, they can still come back here, but they're going to need at least 2 kills, and one of them has to be Zeus.
I mean, there's a hypercharged Pearl super. Like, what are you supposed to do? Second best does want to find that one elimination. Luffy goes down, and that gets him within 4 stars, but it still means they need 2 more eliminations or a clean kill on the RT, which is easier said than done. 1 star difference. Luffy eventually able to fire back here, and Juan Carlos knows he has to walk up, and here comes the Pearl, and she is cooking. Hang on. Juan Carlos wins it out. Nice little super swing to take that elimination, but now one more brawler needs to be picked up, and it was close. So close. But the Mandy was able to get away. I think Zeus realizes they might have just gotten away with absolute murder.
1,100 HP roughly is what separated a set win, or excuse me, a game win or loss right there for Elevate. I just hold my breath there, honestly. You can't take your foot off the gas pedal in this situation. A possible World Finals ticket is on the line, and Pioneers are the #1 seed in this region. They got to make sure they play a full 2 minutes here if they want to win.
All right, this time, Blue Star secured. That's what KCP are looking for. Now we see what Elevate look like when they have to try and make up this kind of deficit. Luffy has a great little diagonal here. Means that second best has to be extra careful starting to make those moves. And had to use a flying hook to get to safety. From this position, yeah, Mandy's very, very good. And Juan Carlos eventually gets poked down. I think we're just seeing the strength of this Elevate composition in general now. 2 brawlers that you can't really dive on. And Mandy who really succeeds when you give her that map control and that space to operate with. So even if Elevate were behind, or had to go aggressive rather, she's able to use the map really well.
And now she's hiding in the grass, and they're going to have to keep an eye on that. Anytime that Luffy steps back, he can fire that super, and it's going to reach all the way to the other end. No area of the map is safe when he has that yellow button.
Second best there, having a tailspin away. Can't do anything. Maybe hoping to draw the ultimate out of Pearl, but what a shot. Luffy takes down RBM. The only brawler here that's, less than 6,000 HP. Or rather, Pain it was. Byron gets picked off there, and there's a 3-star lead here for Elevate. RBM under some pressure, though. Gadget popped. Has to back away. Second best has an angle here to go in on, but still respects the RT super. So it doesn't fully commit just yet.
It's a tough situation. 30 on the clock, and Luffy's now backed into a corner. Doesn't have anywhere to go this time. Juan Carlos running away alongside Pain with the pickup as well. And now they've got 3 stars. Super going down, but they're not going to be able to recycle that one easily. Thankfully for them, they've got RBM and at least Zeus with a little bit of extra love.
Juan Carlos is also out of mech right now, so there's an opportunity for Elevate, but it has to be here. They lack mobility. They don't have gap close. They don't have all-in potential. RBM wasn't quite able to walk away from that engagement in one piece. And Zeus, well, both he and his legs were down to about 800 HP. That's not enough to hang in that kind of fight. And when Elevate's defensive, safe comp has to go on the aggressive, they give up far too many stars.
Another nail biter. These last seconds of both bounty games have been so close. It's all about timing, though. This is a game mode of momentum swings. It comes and goes in waves a little bit. You want to be the last team to strike, especially if you're down like they were. You want an opportunity to dive in and just grab yourself those kills and not allow the other team another opportunity. Elevate did their best there, but KCP were steadfast, held on. Now they've tied things up in this set number 3.
There's a gadget used there from Zeus to secure the mech elimination for one Carlos, but eventually that will be returned to him. Luffy here, okay, pops the gadget, tries to snipe one Carlos from behind that barrier. No connection, so Pioneers still have that blue star lead to their name, and they're waiting here for one Carlos to be able to get back in the mech and get back to being proactive in the middle part of the map.
KCP have gone full turtle mode, especially with Juan Carlos out of this mech. They're much less threatening on that right-hand in. Luffy can play this long-range sharpshooter, try and charge up a super maybe here, and second best, of course, is just pinning and spraying away in that same corner where it's really difficult for RT or Pearl to reach him.
Luffy would love a good diagonal, the pressure second best down, but even with one Carlos out of mech, there's still a fair bit of threat that is being generated by the Meg. Zeus here wants to pinch. Good pressure. Mark on one Carlos now. Another hit, and yep, that'll get the job done. Couldn't get back into the mech, and the Meg was too vulnerable. So now, Super has to be used there to keep second best alive, and the blue star in the hands of Pioneers. And now they need to go chasing this deficit.
This is what I was talking about. KCP want to be the final team to strike. Elevate just have to hold on, do something similar to what the other end did in the last game, and they're being pushed into this corner. Second best flanking, Payne in the middle as point guard, and Juan Carlos trying to work this outside, but RBM meeting him there. Payne trying to assist, but it's going to be tough with 15 to go.
Yeah, that heat's been built up well and truly for RBM, so the Pearl is hitting hard. Payne has to respect this, and they're moving into the corner now. They've got a pinch going on, but Payne gets taken down. Luffy able to find him through the block. One Carlos out of mech, but Zeus is taking a ton of damage. Sugar Ray comes across the map and finds no connection, but the rest of Elevate have done that already. And now the underdog, a team in second in this region, go ahead in the series. And again, long lanes on this map. We've seen a few teams actually try and split the map east to west in order to play shorter range brawlers and avoid having to deal with the element of the bushes, which can be tough for some compositions. So keep an eye out for that, especially these two teams who've shown they're quite willing to try and collapse here to overload one particular side of the map in order to flip it. Colette taken out here, obviously very safe mid. She works really well at this range, and also Pioneers might be looking at, again, continuing to abuse those tanks if they can. But Elevate ban Meg. They say, we don't want to see that brawler here again, and we don't want you to pair it up with the Byron. Pioneers say, fine, we take Frank then. He's pretty good, right?
They have not been afraid to pick the big man. I respect it. Obviously, most of the time he's getting banned at a professional level here, so why not grab him early, especially with Surge out of the equation? No, they don't have Kit to pair him up, but like we saw earlier, there's plenty of combinations that he can work with. I'm thinking Byron, I'm thinking Max as two viable options here as well with Kit out of the way.
Crow's a great bush scout here with great all-in potential on the enemy gem carrier with good range if you have that hypercharge super available. A great Hail Mary option if you found yourself falling behind in a certain round. I think Elevate want to play this map north to south for sure. They have the Amber, who's going to be very, very good at clearing those bushes on the right-hand side. Also Zeus, the Crow is a pretty good scout of those bushes, even, lighting people up. Doesn't need a vision gear because the ticking damage will reveal their location. And of course, KCP go for two tanks. Lily to follow up the Frank.
Well, with no Colette, no Gale, it makes it a little more viable, I think. I mean, Crow for the slowdown, divisibility. Amber, of course, can fire away with DPS. It can work. And now they had Angelo likely going to be their mid. I think it's just going to be Angelo picking up gems, keeping his distance. He has an escape mechanism built into the brawler. And then you're just going to have Frank and Lily run him down. Elevate are going to have a lot of health points and a lot of aggression to handle on the other end.
What?
And what an interesting way to try and deal with it.
I have not seen this pick in a long, long time. The Daryl to answer Pioneers' composition. What on earth are they looking for here?
I believe this is the second time maybe this weekend we've ended seeing him. This is something that I feel like players are probably keeping close to their hands. I imagine, we're kind of just guessing a little bit here, right? We haven't seen this guy in a long, long time, and there's lots of brawlers in the pool that are much better overall, I would say. I don't think anybody would consider Daryl to be an S and A tier kind of brawler. Rolling in, being able to close that gap whenever you need, being a shotgun brawler as well. Probably the kinds of things, and maybe using the slowdown function with his gadget might be one way they try and stop the enemy side a little bit. I'm just curious to see what happens here. I'm ready to let this RBM Daryl pick prove itself.
Yeah, this is an RBM classic. Apparently, he beat a Frank with Daryl in a Matcherino tournament last week. So that might have been the genesis of that particular idea. But RBM gets sent packing pretty quickly. Pain goes into the Shadow Realm. It's going to pop up with a target-rich environment. And eventually Zeus gets picked off by Juan Carlos. Luffy here pops the gadget. RBM stunned up. They walk straight into that second best, ready for the Daryl to engage. And in the meantime, Juan Carlos is picking up all the gems.
So far, no real wins, I would say, for Daryl. Just kind of trades from time to time. Little attempt at a super there, and now for the first time, Juan Carlos is really going to be backed away. Second best just running this down, dropping a gadget, but RBM dodges it, barrels his way down, and now kills second best. All the gems on the ground, RBM rolling for them. Pain gets the kill, but Luffy was getting hungry, nearly a little too aggressive there. Barely dodges that snipe, will survive, and they're only able to come away with about one gem stolen out of all of that.
Okay, Zeus is now the gem carrier for Elevate, which is fine. And second best takes RBM down with another well-aimed stun. Pretty easy to connect with Daryl with that super, if the Daryl, of course, isn't barrel rolling in. So, 9 gems here to 2. Pain has a good off angle and can dive on in and it instantly blows Zeus up. Good damage at RBM as well, but Pioneers aren't looking to follow up on it. They can't give too much ground because the Amber is going to turn them into fried chicken if they sit in a corner here. So you're throwing that super over. Second best mostly able to shrug it off. Here comes the dive in from Zeus, and the damage is there. It's enough. Now Juan Carlos is going to scoot them up, but RBM is coming close. Good slow, but again, Juan Carlos has the gadget to jump right over and now can body block with second best to avoid that Amber pressure. Pioneers here trying to stop Elevate in their tracks from getting the guaranteed slot to Worlds. Nice way to start the set.
We talked about it a lot today, too, but obviously Pioneers are kind of playing to be the outright leaders in NA2. I won't call it as pressuring of a situation, but still means a lot, and one thing that can't be underlooked, too, there's a lot of cha-ching on the line here. They're definitely going to want to, gain a little bit in the pockets as well. They're doing a great job of competing. They're a #1 seed in this region for a reason, and allowing such an aggressive team to get Lily and Frank, it's going to be difficult to face off no matter what you do.
Pain here trying to avoid RBM into the Shadow Room now. Goes the Lily to avoid the scrutiny of the Daryl. Now Pain can play close. Has a super up, so that's an instant dash and elimination there on Luffy. Back into the Shadow Realm once more to avoid the reprisal from Zeus, but it comes either way. Juan Carlos able to charge a big shot that they could send in Zeus's direction. Healthy star lead again for Pioneers.
Luffy now going to be working the left-hand side as Pain gets in the grass. Second best looking for cover and goes for a super 2. I don't think Daryl was expecting it. He tried to get away, couldn't quite get there. RBM rolls in and rolls out now. It's going to be an immediate pickup there for KCP. They've got the gyms, they've got map control. Elevate have a long road ahead of them.
Second best running it up here. They'll open up the map a little bit with that super and not much more than that, really. RBM in a good position to stave off Pain. Definitely favored in that matchup and that Amber gadget's pretty good, not gonna lie. Elevate here with super up. 8 gems to the name of Pioneers, though.
Juan Carlos does not want to be left alone. Thankfully for him, he can get out at any time with his gadgets, but RBM rolling in. Now they get a pick up. Pain trying to defend his teammate here. So RBM goes for another one. Juan Carlos with enough HP to work with, though, is not too threatened alongside that super. Still going to hold on to all 8 of these gems, but the good news for Elevate is they buy enough time to grab a few. They still got to hold on here, though, and that's not a great way to do it.
Probably not to plan. Juan Carlos now could just jump away with the gadget and move back to safety. Now with a hypercharged super available as well. This Angela was virtually unkillable. Going to be constantly healed and have that area of threat around it, which means that RBM cannot approach them. Well, folks, it's been a day for it. We are going to be looking at another 5-set series as Pioneers take Undermine away.
It's another one where Angelo could certainly show up as well. Like you said, he's fallen down, I think, the tier lists a little bit, if you will, in terms of the brawler pool right now. But he's still solid nonetheless, and pro players are going to know to bring the best out of him. They're just not going to want to deal with him entirely. Going to be in the ban stage here. 8-bit, an interesting one to kind of see in that ban on the top left side. But the rest of the brawlers, I think, are likely candidates here. Curious if we get any more crazy tank picks here. I think Lily makes a lot of sense as a tank pick. Obviously, we've seen some wild ones here with Daryl and El Primo, though.
All right. Lily locked away, pretty important for securing that instant elimination. And it can't be traded out quite often because Lily can just duck down into the Shadow Realm. So a brawler that's very well suited for this kind of game type, and RT is basically here to tell you, get off my lawn, get out of my face, don't dive on me like that. Let's see if it's going to work out. Again, a very popular pick, a 64% win rate for the RT.
And it's a good one. Again, similar to the explanation we gave in Bounty, it's going to make a lot of sense as a jack of all trades, and those closing moments with those in-game circles can do a little bit of everything. If you need the long range, he's got the long range. He can get you a double tap if you need it with his gadget. And of course, he can drop the static at a moment's notice. Another map here where we're going to see the Pearl come out, in particular in North America, because he love it. And Tribe was the only team I thought was going to pick Squeak today. Uber, forget that. Let's see what happens here.
Again, very important, I think, for securing these kills, because that residue is pretty hard to avoid, and it creates a field that slows drastically. So Pioneers want to play off that, use the Squeak's ability to set up those potential dives and have something else that can hard engage. That might be a good option. Again, the Pearl is picked up, so Elevate have so many things that say, don't dive me. I like the idea of Mandy poking them down here. She's, obviously pretty well suited to this map as it is quite long range, and she's got a 50% win rate. It's a very solid choice here for a sharpshooter.
Love where Mandy's at in the game. Like I said, the little balance change got her a boost. I think she's risen up the rankings as well for individual brawler status. This combination is not a normal one at all on the left-hand end. We've got Mandy as a sharpshooter. That one's not surprising. Lily's oftentimes in the band stage, so usually we don't even get to see her in this spot, but Squeak is going to be that X factor.
Oh.
And they're going to draft Melody on the other end to get up in the faces of that Squeak and that Mandy.
Yeah, it's another brawler that also, at close range, can be extremely potent, right? Not only are you doing damage if you've been able to build those music notes up, but you get a portion of shield for each one of those that you have available. So it does make Melody for a short window nigh unkillable. However, Pioneers are going to be looking for windows to work that Melody down because her range generally isn't very good. RBM's going to hope to farm one Carlos for those music notes to be able to withstand the full engage from Lily.
Well, a fun draft here. And of course, Luminosity now praying that their opponent is the KCP side. They're just hoping for a direct chance to world and Elevate, trying to secure one of their own. It's going to come down to knockout here.
Payne's taking a lot of space here. This opens the sideline up for one Carlos. Now hiding inside the bushes as the poke damage was a bit extreme, but good pressure. RBM slowed up. Payne was looking at an opportunity to get in here. If you're going to take another one of those hits here, second best, I don't think, doesn't connect the residue, excuse me. So that's a waste of that gadget. Maybe only one or two of those left, depending on the gear. Zeus a little out of position though, but able to avoid all of that Squeak poke damage coming in.
RBM's great for the visibility, but on the other side, Payne's gotten a super. He dives in Luffy, a perfect brawler to dive in on, at least if you're the Elevate side. He's not going to be able to secure those kills easily. Now he's diving out again. Payne with low HP. A Mandy super connects, though. It's a trade. All of a sudden, things are evened out.
But you can see what Luffy can do when that Lily starts coming to knock. Be able to dash away. Yeah, you can't stop the Lily from necessarily dashing to you if she hits that super. But you can stop the follow-up attack from coming in. Great mobility there from Luffy. Here's one Carlos having to pop the gadget. Now, I mean, Mandy not that strong when the gas starts to close in here. And Elevate have such a great close quarters comp.
This Melody answer seems so good. Ooh, they're going for the surprise attack a little bit too. The mental warfare going down. Juan Carlos didn't connect, I don't think, to anybody. Hard to say from our camera angle, but would have recycled a super if he connected with two brawlers. Would have gotten a half bar if he got one, but it looked like those guys were all at full HP when they came across the line.
Second best needs to conserve those charges of residue. That's a good connection there on Luffy. A ton of burst damage coming in for the Melody. He has to use his gadget early, and he goes low. Payne was hoping to chase Luffy down, but at 524 health, it almost kept him alive. But out of the Shadow Realm emerged the Lily, and they secured the Melody elimination. Now things look much rougher for Elevate. Second best having to dodge these shots, but a gadget from Marty would have secured it. Pioneers, though, look to brawl at the end of that round, and we're even.
Love that super choice coming in from Pioneers and Lily in particular. They used that gadget to get around that left-hand side and secure that kill. It was all alone up there. They could have isolated him, could have been in trouble. But because of how strong that gadget is and just the sheer amount of damage that Payne can do on this brawler, it's really tough.
Good zoning here. It's pretty scary to play in these bushes up against this Squeak setup. You are going to take a lot of incidental damage. Second best probably not too far away from a super, but needs to respect the damage from Elevate. Thinks twice about overextending.
Well, Elevate with a little bit of control, but at any moment's notice, Juan Carlos can drop a cross-court super, and he's now hovering over it. Going to be hiding in this grass, just looking for an opportunity to catch Elevate off guard. I think they're just going to let this one play out a little bit, though. Second best is Squishy. Needs to be careful. Does make a great tag. Not enough to secure a kill, but nonetheless, we'll keep them on their toes.
Yeah, you've got to convert that damage on the Melody into some map control, though, especially as the gas is going to start closing in now. Here's Luffy making the engagement. RBM got taken down, but one Carlos disintegrated, and it's all pain. And there's not much left to do here. Can't make a play with your super, and of course we saw that RT super used. So that first round in this set going the way of Elevate. They are 1 round away from securing a spot at Worlds.
Match point, Worlds point, this is everything for Elevate right now. Shutting down any chance of Luminosity getting a direct ticket here. The team of Destiny waiting on the other side might not even have that chance.
Pain on the dive in, immediately pops that gadget. They're going to walk up on the position of the Lily though, giving an opportunity to Pain, but they baited it in. Great start for Elevate now. No hard engage remains for Pioneers.
Melody has just been a brawler choice that I think has worked out so well for them in so many aspects. The movement, great. I don't think it's nearly as good of a brawler after these balance changes, but it's still really solid and obviously going to play quite well up in the faces of Mandy and Squeak, and now they're getting tapped up on all ends. There's 3 brawlers rushing them down as they play this east-west, and Juan Carlos, nothing he can do by himself. He's just going to want to hold on to this super maybe for next round. Going to take one out. Still going to be a toughie here, though, and yes, Elevate do secure that kill. We'll see if he plays the mind games here off the start, though, with the super.
Here we go. One more round for Elevate. World Finals on the line and a spot, of course, in our Grand Finals. This would mean that the best Luminosity could possibly do is LCQ. These comps have all featured basically Pearl and RT to some degree, and they've been so good at answering the all-in tendency of Pioneers. Second best goes low. Luffy able to jump away, but the Squeak survives, just survives. Juan Carlos takes a couple of shots to try and force Zeus back, but despite Elevate being down a brawler, they want to play aggressively. Pain dodging many of these RT shots.
Elevate just have to posture here a little bit, right? They're down in numbers, so they have to hold on to positioning, and Pain gonna have to drop a gadget here just to stay alive a little longer. They're gonna try and exhaust as many of those resources as possible.
Pain gonna use the jump pad here, probably happy to take a fight against RBM, but has to respect this super. Stays outside of it for now. Residue used to slow up the Pearl, and this does give that map control back to Pioneers. Now they're ready to throw down and exacerbate this player advantage. Nice dive from Pain. It's going to be RBM, the last one left standing. Pioneers have a chance to spoil Elevate's chances here with that World Finals guarantee. They're going to have to win a few more of these rounds, though.
That was a really good round from Pioneers, though, and it all started with a narrow survival from second best. No connection there from Juan Carlos. That's a big deal. Those Mandy supers need to connect. It makes it easier to rotate those supers in and obviously get a half bar for every opponent that you hit. So Juan Carlos could be cycling these in and out. Some great shots coming in from second best, though. This one's going to be a very intense finish, I imagine. I love that Elevate are not backing down, though. They're still holding their ground, and they're trying to claim one final round here.
Elevate trying to scout these bushes with the Pearl and RT, so they at least can see the Mandy as she starts to fire at them. Second best here. Would love to force RBM back a little bit further. It's a bit of an uncomfortable position to have the enemy Pearl in. That shot should do the job. Pearl forced to walk away now. Slowed up, and Juan Carlos finds the catch. Pioneers here look like they're positioned now to take this round back. Luffy and Zeus, last two standing. Sugar Ray connects on the RT, and they're going for it. Quick super thrown out. Zeus has to use a super to avoid some of that damage, apparently. And Luffy's trying to go in here. But in the meantime, Zeus falls now. 1v3 for Luffy. It's possible, but it's maybe too much to ask here. Sugar Ray doesn't connect. Now the dive comes in. Luffy down to 2100. And that will be Pioneers evening it up. We're going to go to one more round of knockout.
I was holding my breath for sure. I mean, Melody, if there's a brawler out there that can make a 1v2, 1v3 kind of happen, that was going to be the opportunity, but that's a near impossible ask for anybody. Uber, it's just the kind of month we're having, right? It's the final one of the year. Let there be chaos. One more game to decide it all here.
All right, leave it all out there. Both these teams. Winner advances to the grand finals. For Pioneers, that means a little bit less than Elevate. Luffy here again has wanted to harass from this left-hand side for much of this set so far. Second best, though, uniquely equipped to deal with that pressure by throwing down these orbs, zoning Luffy away.
KCP going to join back together here on the other end. Second best looking to get some area control going for his side. Juan Carlos needs to start making some connections. And for Pain, that guy's just going to have some fancy footwork, dodge some shots, knows he needs to pop a gadget here. He's going to be up in the face of RBM, pops up, doesn't get that takedown, and now they lose a soldier on their end as well. He falls too. It's just Juan Carlos left standing, and 3 Elevate brawlers facing him down. Grabs one, though. That was a bold call. Ends up paying off for now, looking for a second kill. Can't get it. Luffy secures the deal. One round away, and Elevate will be in our grand finals.
Juan Carlos at least is able to build up a super though, so Pioneers do have that weapon to rely on if the poke damage from second best, and Juan Carlos is enough to set up a kill opportunity. Back into the middle of the map now, and second best wants to take no chances. Waits for that RT mark to fall off before he comes forward.
ELV just trying to hold on here. The positioning in their favor. They're getting some great tags. Juan Carlos has been marked up. Payne's been marked off. And now we've got second best just playing aggressive as Squeak. They're getting desperate. They need any kind of control possible just to hold them off. These in-game scenarios have not been going in their favor. A nice tag from Juan Carlos from across the map. The snipe is there, and now KCP are expanding.
Payne tried to throw a super on Luffy, but here he comes in. Gadget popped, and the Melody gets brought down. Pioneers have the player advantage now. Second best has to back away. Super thrown towards Zeus, and Zeus is able to find the elimination. But where's RBM? They're low. Payne knows it, but RBM somehow comes out of the bushes and secures the elimination. Payne has to go massive here, but Zeus just walks away, and immediately into the Shadow Realm. The Lily had to go, and there you have it. Elevate have done it. They have secured their spot at the World Finals, and of course, they're into our Grand Finals here, much to the dismay of Luminosity, who realize all they're playing for now is a bit of extra prize money.